Hey guys, coming back with another deck profile. So I played Doflamingo at my locals the other day and I got first place. So yeah, this is the overall deck that I took to the tournament. Um, yeah, I'm pretty happy with my choices. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the ratios that I kept in the deck. And I'll go in depth about each card later in this video. And as far as the matchups I played, so we have a little bit more variety this time. It wasn't just 4 red decks. So I played against 2 Zoro and 2 Kaidos. Didn't play against green, so we'll see how that matchup goes. I did play against green and 1 locals. Actually play against 2 green decks, but with a different list. Um, Still with Doflamingo, and I won one, lost one, so I tweaked this so that my deck is better against green. Unfortunately, I didn't play against green at this locals, but yeah, I would say that this list is a little bit worse than against red because I am playing like more of the Mihawks, and Mihawk is like I'm talking about the 9 cost Mihawk. Like he's pretty good into red, but you don't want like too many of him, right? Like because red plays a lot of or Zoro rather plays a lot of like cheap attackers, and playing one Mihawk is not enough to like answer all their threats. So but yeah, I ended up winning both matches, but it was like really close, especially the last round. It pretty much came down to both of us having 0 life, and if he had one more rush character, I would have lost. Against the Kaidos, I'm pretty happy with how my list went. I was able to hit a lot of my higher end cards like Virgo, Mihawk, the 7 cost Dofi. Once I established those, they kind of have to be forced to play 10 cost Kaido to kind of like clear the board. And then afterwards, I just play my 4 cost, like a couple of 4 cost characters, maybe a Trafalgar Law to kind of like build my board back. So I was able to win that way. And purple is like a pretty bad matchup for blue in general, but it's not unwinnable, especially if they don't hit Onigashima Island, or if they don't hit 10 cost Kaido, which happened in round 2. My opponent had the island, but they didn't have 10 cost Kaido, so I was able to kind of just like overwhelm him with my card advantage and win from there. So they still need to hit the cards that they need, and that's kind of the problem with purple right now, I guess. Like you don't have too much consistency. Like queen can draw you cards, but you don't have a card like Nami or Bonnie to kind of like really dig for the right cards that you need for the matchup. So yeah, I was able to take it home, and yeah, I'm gonna talk about the cards in depth shortly. Okay. Alright, and we're here with the deck profile. So of course we are running the Don Quixote Doflamingo leader, and if you don't know what he does, you can attach 2 Dons to him, and when he's attacking you can rest another Don, and you get to reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a 7 Warlords character you can play it rested. So this is a very powerful ability. You're able to kind of out advantage your opponent, because not only do you get to get the extra card, but you get to also play it, and it does come rested, which is a bit of a downside, but if you have enough counters in your hand you can protect your characters from being killed by your opponent's attackers. So very good ability, and you can also be, because you're also attaching 2 dons, so you're also attacking for quite a bit, and because you're attacking for 7k, they might not want to use 2 cards to kind of counter your attacks either, right? Because they don't want to go down in card advantage so early. So you're not only are you depleting their life, but you're also developing your board as well. So very powerful ability. And to kind of help set up your plays with your leader, we're running the 4 Peronas. This is pretty much mandatory. Perona is kind of like our Onigashima Island for, Kaido. This is a card that you always want to see. If I don't see Perona in my opening hand, I will mulligan my hand, try to, increase my odds of getting her. And you want to see her whether you're going first or second, because playing her on your first turn lets you set up your subsequent turns. And even if you don't use Doflamingo's ability, right, to reveal the top card of your deck, just being able to draw the right cards at the right moment is pretty crucial. Like, you want to draw your 2k counters on the turns where you're playing a different card, and you want to draw your Mihawks later on, like your 9-cost Mihawks later on. You don't want to draw it right away and not have the counters in your hand during the early turn. So very, very good card. You always want to see this early. And next we have for 1-cost, I'm running 3 Trafalgar Laws. So this might seem weird. I know this is kind of like a staple for blue decks, but my reasoning for the 3 1-cost law is he has a 7 warlords, but you almost never want to actually play him off of your Doflamingo's ability, because it comes rested, and it's also a 1-cost. So Doflamingo lets you play 7 warlords that's 4 costs or less, and tapping 1 for a 1-cost law, you're kind of just like going even, and being rested makes it not really have that much value off of your Doflamingo's ability. And sometimes I feel like I don't have that much dawns to actually be able to play a lot. Like, it just makes my turns a little bit awkward, and having him stuck in your hand, he's not a counter, is also pretty bad, because this deck does use the dawn quite a bit, because it costs 2 dawns to attach, and then you have to rest another one, so that's 3 dawns to be able to use your leader's ability. So because of that reason, I'm only running 3, and I think that's a good number. You don't really want to see too many of these guys, and I find that these days people, like, every single deck has some ways to deal with a 1-cost blocker. Like, green has all those characters that rest your lower cost characters. Red has Nico Robin, and Kaido, they're running the 7-cost king, because I find that in the North American meta there's a lot of red decks, so purple also runs the 7-cost king that KOs 2 low-cost characters, and as a result it makes law worse. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with just running 3 of these, and to be quite honest, this deck has a lot of cards I want to play, and I can't really fit them all in a 50 card deck. So with that being said, we have next up our only 3-cost card, the 3-cost blocker Doflamingo. He's pretty good. He's just all well-rounded card. He's a blocker, he's a 1k counter, and on play he has the same effect as Perona. Typically, like, he's kind of like a backup Perona. If you don't have Perona, you can play him with 3 Dawn and then try to filter out your hand. But really, if you're going first, right, you always want to actually use his ability to be able to get out of 7 warlords. You don't want to use the 3-cost Doflamingo on the turn that you want to use his ability, but sometimes you don't really have a choice because this is the only play that you can make. He's really good in the late game when you have a lot of Dawns up, so you can play him as a blocker, filter out your draws, use his ability, get a 7 warlord, so you have a blocker to protect your rested character. Also, him being a blocker allows you to survive some attacks, and you can also use his filtering ability to help set up love beams in the late game as well. So you can love counter 4k, draw into another 2k, and then help you survive, and then you can go for the game after you live on your turn. So very good card. And next so here's another controversial addition. So I'm only running 3 Boa Hancocks, and I find that Boa is not too great, to be honest, because I think she's really good later on when you have a lot of Dawn up and you just kind of need blockers to survive your opponent's attacks. You can attach a Dawn, draw a card, that's great. And if you're able to get her out with your leader's ability and you're able to protect her, you can get advantage off of her. So you're kind of living the dream at that point. But really, if you do play her on turf where she does tend to get jet pistol, and sometimes if you play her with like 5 Dawn, you play her with 4 and then attach a Dawn and then you get jet pistol, it feels pretty bad. So yeah, I find that she's not like 5k is decent, but I would almost rather play a pacifist. Like the 6k attack is so much more impactful because you can just attach 1 Dawn to make a 7k swing, which is mostly what you want to be doing. So yeah, but in the off chance that your opponent can't really deal with her when you get to play her with your leader's ability, then she's going to be able to be very powerful for you. But yeah, and also you do want to run a good number of 7 warlords so you don't miss with your Peronas or things like that. Yeah, so running only 3 Boas. And next are the cards that you really want to see off of the Doflamingo. So we're running 4 Kikomoria. Oops, sorry about that. 2 Teach and 4 Kuma. So these are actually the cards that you always want to hit with your leader's ability because these 2, Gecko Moria and Teach, they come with an on-play ability, so you're getting value out of them like almost immediately, right? So Gecko Moria, you can bring back 7 Warlords from your trash, so the best play you can make is to bring back the 4 cost 2k counter Mihawk so that you're able to actually protect him when you play him with your leader's ability. And Teach is very good when you're going up against an aggro matchup, or you just need to bounce a blocker from your opponent's board so you can swing in for a game, or just clear the blocker so you can eliminate a potential threat. So, and Kuma's very good to get off of your leader's ability because he comes in tap, but against a lot of players, they see, oh, he has an on KO ability, so they won't even attack into it, because they don't want to get the pacifista out from your hand. They kind of just tend to ignore it. So he's also pretty good because he provides you with a lot of tempo, being able to keep swinging your opponent, and they're like, oh, I don't really want to kill the Kuma and give him a free pacifista kind of thing. So he's also very good, and that's why we kind of max out on the Gekamorias and Kumas. Teach, you could run like max out on Teach as well, but I am running the 2 Jinbeis. Let me just put that over here. So I kind of like Jinbeis because sometimes you just want to be able to bottom your opponent's threat. Like if you're playing against red and they attack with their Zora, right? If you Teach, send it back, like they already got their value from the Zora, and now they can play it again and get more value out of the Zora. So it's not the best in those kind of situations. And same thing with like Okiku or Robin, like they can just play it again and try to get value. Sometimes you just want to bottom it. I kind of like having the option of whether to bottom or just bounce it back to their hand. Jinbei is not a 7 warlords though, so it is a bit debatable whether it's actually correct to play Jinbei, but I did like Jinbei in some situations where I was able to just completely remove their premium threats like the Okikus and the Nico Robins. So I'm pretty happy about
just playing 2. But you know, you could play 4 Teach just because you can hit off of the Doflamingo leader ability more, and teaches a 1k counter, which is also pretty good. So those are the cards that you want to play. And oh, before I forget, we are running 3 Pacifistas. I kind of want to run 4 because you do want to get this into your hand so you can make your Kuma's abilities live, but at the same time, again, like there's just not enough room in the deck to run all these different cards. So we're just running 3 Pacifistas. I think that's pretty good. Also, it's not a 7 Warlord, so you don't want to see too many of it, I guess. And next we have 2k counters. So we have Mihawk and Alvidas. So these are the 2k counters I'm running. Not running Mr. I think 2 Bonkley. So because we're actually not running any Rockworks event cards, so we won't be able to use this ability. I mean, I never really play her anyway, so I just keep her as a 2k counter, so it doesn't really matter. Mihawk's definitely better than Alvida because not only is he a 7 Warlord, so you can, if you, in the worst case scenario, right, like you can play him rested, like you don't have any other options with 3 Dawn. So at least you have that, but also because he's, you know, again, 7 Warlords, you can get him back off of Gecko Moria. So when you're countering 2k, you always want to counter with the Mihawk first, so that you can get it back with the Gecko Moria, because you can't get Alvida back because she's not a 7 Warlords. Yeah, she's a buggy pirate. Okay, so those are 2k counters. And next we have 3 Virgos. Virgo is very good. I'm even thinking about running 4 of him because so what I like to do with Doflamingo is actually when I have 5 Dawn or 6 Dawn, I actually prioritize playing Virgo, because when you're able to establish Virgo, you can get so much board presence with him. It's so easy to swing into your opponent's characters, clear the board, get board advantage, and then being able to swing into your opponent's leader, 7k, force 2 cards out of them, or force them to take the damage is very good. And he's also a 1k counter, so Virgo is a very good card. And yeah, sometimes I just actually, like pretty much all the time, if I have the mana, or sorry, the Dawn to play Virgo, I will play Virgo instead of using the leader ability. So that's how much I value being able to get Virgo on the board. Yeah, Virgos, and 2 7 cost Doflamingo. He's pretty good, but like I mentioned in the Crocodile video, I just find that there's not that many good targets for Doflamingo to hit. He's not a counter, so if you have too many of these guys, he'll just kind of clog up your hand brick, and it's hard to like play multiple, you know. Like if you have 1 in your hand, you play it, that's great, but if you have multiples, it's very hard to find a situation where you can play all of them in your hand. So I think 2 is a good amount. But yeah, don't get me wrong, he's still very good, just not in multiples. But something that I do want to play in multiples is actually 4 Mihawks. And again, I explained this in the Crocodile video. This, like, unlike Doflamingo, when Mihawk hits the board, like it really, you are going to, you know, push for the game, because he's so hard to deal with. It forces your opponent to kind of like, you know, it really forces the issue when you get him on the board. Whereas Doflamingo, you just bounce it back to their hand, and they can just play their whatever high cost card that they have, right? So it's kind of like more of like you're kind of gaining, you know, a little bit of time. Whereas Mihawk is like, okay, you play him, and now they're really in trouble. Like you're going for, you know, going for the lethal kill with the Mihawk. So yeah, that's why I want to run 4, because I always want to see him. And with all the filtering abilities you have, if you get extra Mihawks, like you're probably not going to be able to play. You might be able to play 2 Mihawks in one game. You're probably not going to play 3. So any extra ones, you can just put them at the bottom with your Peronas, with your Doflamingo, the 3-cost Doflamingo later in the game. So yeah, but I run 4 because I absolutely have to see him in my top end, because he is the card that's going to win you the game. So that's 4 Mihawks, and next is 4 Love Beams. This is the only event card that I'm running. I opted to not run Desert Spada. I think that's a popular choice with Doflamingo players, because you get to filter the top 3 cards, which is good. But I feel at the same time, the 2k counter is not impactful enough, you know, like as I've said so many times in this video, there's so many cards that I want to play. Like I would rather play an extra Virgo, extra Mihawk, like really, really powerful cards, rather than a Desert Spada, you know what I mean? But I do run the 4 Love, and this is probably one of the best cards you can have later in the game, because not only is it a 4k counter, so you can, you know, counter out your opponent's big swings, but when you're low on cards, you can draw another card, so you can draw into a 2k counter, which can, you know, prevent a, you know, when they're swinging for like 10k and things like that, which is all like typically very hard to counter. Love being one card will be able to counter that, because you can draw into a counter which can stop the whole attack. So it's very good, and because you can use your Peronas, your 3-cost Doflamingo to kind of filter out the top cards of your deck, you pretty much know that, oh, I'm going to draw a 2k counter off of this. So it's very, very good. One of the games that I played against Kaido, I was able to have 3 level up beams, and then I was able to counter out his 10-cost Kaido and one of his, you know, leader swings, and be able to win the game off the crackback. So very, very good card. And that's pretty much it for the deck profile. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to put up a pack opening, little pack opening video at the end of this. But yeah, if you guys enjoy the deck profile, please leave a like and subscribe. Hey, see you. Alright, so we have the pack opening now. So let's start off with the tournament pack. See what we get. I wouldn't mind pulling another one of these Luffy's that's on the cover. Still like trying to learn how to open these packs efficiently. There we go. Got it. Okay. And we got the Luffy. Oh, nice. Very cool. I really love this artwork with him, you know, punching, and I think those are shockwaves. Like, he's not really breaking the wall or anything, but yeah, it looks really cool. So let's put him here. And then next we have the winner pack. All right, let's see what we get. Last time we got the blue Law. This time, is it Law again? No, it is. Well, still having a bit of trouble. I think I know what the card is though. There it is, Kaido winner. Very nice. Cool, we got a different card. Pretty happy about that. Okay, cool. Thanks.